Hello, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Connor. I'm here with another video. This is going to be a video on how Joe Biden won the 2020 presidential election. Now, the 2020 presidential election was crazy. And in fact, it's one of the craziest elections in history. If not, it is. As you know, Joe Biden defeated the incumbent president, Donald Trump, by a score of 306 electoral votes to 232 electoral votes. Now, I like to say this. First of all, I'm biased. I'm a conservative. So if things are a little bit, you seem like I'm not telling the full story. I have a little bit of bias. Guess what? I do. I admit it. I'm biased. But I'm here to be as objective as possible, give my views on how I think Joe Biden won this election. Also, I don't have a script. So I'm going to repeat myself as I did just now. Probably should write a script for videos. Anyways, so here's the story of how Joe Biden won the 2020 presidential election. Anyways, let's get into it. So, I'd like to take you all the way back to 2000. The story begins all the way to 2009, 2010ish. There was this flu that was going around the world called swine flu. Now, the swine flu was a thing that could kill people, but wasn't too dangerous. Now, of course, in 2009 or 2010, who was president of the United States of America in 2009 or 2010? Barack Obama. But who was his vice president? Joe Biden. This is going to play a very key centerpiece into him winning this election. Anyways, after Obama couldn't run because of the 22nd Amendment in the 2016 election, people were counting on Joe Biden to be the favorite to win the 2016 primary for the Democrats. But of course, he declined, leaving Hillary Clinton. But then came a candidate named Donald Trump, who spoke a lot to the people. Of course, he was very nationalist and a populist. He believed in the people. And that really spoke to Americans, as even though he lost the popular vote, he won the election. And the reason he won the election is because he flipped a lot of key states that Obama failed to do because of jobs. He flipped Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Now, during Trump's tenure, it was very controversial as the Republicans absolutely loved him, while the Democrats did not seem to like him. Of course, it was very diverse. Pretty much, if you were a Republican, you liked Trump. But if you were a Democrat, then you didn't like him. That was just the case, as he was impeached, and of course his approval rating went down to around 40%, 45%. Now, in the 2020 election, it looked like Donald Trump was probably going to win, as he easily won the Republican nomination by the biggest margin in history. But who is going to be that 2020 Democratic nominee for the 2020 election? Of course, the Democrats' number one priority was to get rid of Trump, because Trump was seen as a very diverse figure among the Democratic Party. So what they did is they turned on a guy who was very popular, Barack Obama, but Barack Obama couldn't run. So they picked his vice president, Joe Biden. Joe Biden was very, very popular, of course, because he was Barack Obama's vice president, and he was a nice guy who dealt with a lot of challenges, and he was popular when he was vice president because of his kindness and what he did for the community. So, of course, he easily won, but of course, he faced some challenges. He faced challenges, of course, from Bernie Sanders, but of course, Bernie Sanders came in second place or finished in the top three. But of course, another challenger was a guy named Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg was a younger who looked like he's probably going to be the future of the Democratic Party. What separates Pete Buttigieg is that military service, and he's one of the few open homosexuals politicians here in America. But of course, Joe Biden easily won. Now, Joe Biden did not pick the vice president automatically. It took a few months, but overall, what was going on during all of this, when he was trying to pick a vice president, was COVID, and of course the death of George Floyd. Now, COVID was very confusing, as you see in the swine flu. As of course you see in the swine flu, COVID was way more deadly than the swine flu. But COVID had ruined a lot of jobs, and whatever you blame it on Trump or whoever, it was very, no one liked COVID. Now, of course, people like the aspects of COVID. If maybe a person like me, no school. But for a lot of people lost their jobs, and of course, the economy went to a recession. But of course, who was the president in that time? Luckily, luckily for Democrats, it was Donald Trump. This was the best opportunity to defeat Donald Trump, as COVID was really sweeping the nation, and the Democrats, along with politicians, know that the number one thing that America probably votes its candidates on, of course, the economy. When you have a bad economy, most presidents do not get elected. Look at Jimmy Carter back in 1980. Bad economy, didn't get elected. 1992, George H.W. Bush, not a good economy, lost the election. The point is that the economy was really the turning point of who decides it. And of course, the economy was not doing good, so they knew that they needed to get a figure. And of course, Joe Biden won. But as Joe Biden was doing it, besides COVID, there was another obstacle: the BLM movement. The death of George Floyd was very, very controversial, and it helps reunite a movement called Black Lives Matter. Now, of course, despite what a lot of people say, Black Lives Matter was not created this year. In fact, it's created since the Obama administration. I don't know when the day was published, but it definitely started to gain national attention in 2014 due to the death of Michael Brown. Of course, it gained my priority, gained wide publicly because of the support from President Barack Obama during that time. And what Joe Biden decided to do is that he decided to get a black vice presidential candidate. And not to be rude, but Kamala Harris was picked probably because she was an African American woman. Let's face it. Joe Biden did not want to be considered a liberal, as he knows that the liberal was not generally well received by the public. He wanted to make sure that he was moderate and that he could easily get along with Republicans as much as he gets along with Democrats. He tried to run on the platform that he was a moderate, because during that time, America's very divided. It has been for a long time, and it is. And someone wanted a united figure. So by trying to say he's a moderate, saying that he has some Republican ideas, he tried to make Republicans go his way. But of course, he picked Kamala Harris, which, looking back, it's actually not. First of all, in terms of her as a politician, I think it was a terrible decision. But in terms of what she does, it's actually helpful because she was African American, and people really wanted more opportunities for African Americans in America in July, and of course currently. And so Joe Biden, of course, just like every single presidential victor, or most, he ran on a campaign. Now, the campaign was very unique from Joe Biden. Where Joe Biden ran on the platform of staying at home but doing virtual interviews, or when he does go outside, he remained very, very social distance. Of course, this was the first campaign of a huge presidential where it was odd. He did not go outside. If you look at Donald Trump, he went outside. He did a lot of rallies. If you looked at the 2016 campaigns between Trump and Clinton, they had rallies. Romney and Obama had rallies. The point of the matter is it was very unusual. But of course, he picked the perfect time, of course, as we were dealing with the pandemic. Now, the pandemic or his campaign strategy to stay outside really resonated with a lot of people who wanted to get an end of COVID. Now, what he was trying to tell the people is that he's trying to tell the people that he really takes COVID seriously, and that by going outside, he does not want to risk anyone getting COVID or the spread of COVID. And people were like, this guy really takes COVID seriously. As of course, you hear stories or articles every day of the news portraying Trump as a guy who does not want to wear a mask. So, of course, by him staying at home or wearing a huge mask and staying socially distanced, really said to the people, wait a minute, Trump is portrayed as the media's guy who doesn't want to wear a mask. And Joe Biden everywhere wants to wear a mask. So, of course, he was seen as a guy who really wanted to take care of the people and help with this COVID. So, of course, then he ran on a campaign. He also ran on a campaign of pessimistic. It was more of telling the flaws of President Trump other than giving a huge solution. Joe Biden was very vague on a lot of things. He refused to answer the case of court packing, if he wanted to pack the court. It was very vague on what he was going to be doing in terms of COVID-wise. As Mike Pence said to Kamala Harris, that it was eerily similar than Joe Biden. But what Joe Biden had on his side was a bad economy during that time and a lot of racial tensions. Of course, Joe Biden, on election night, knew it was going to be close. He knew that the polls weren't exactly real, as he probably thought he was going to win, but he knew it was going to be close. And of course, on election night, we had no idea. But then on November 7th, the media said it was 20. Of course, the media said that Joe Biden won, and it's officially been confirmed on January 6th, 8 days before publishing and making this video, that he has officially won and Donald Trump has officially conceded. Now, of course, this was some backstory, but why did Joe Biden win? Well, Joe Biden won because, again, I'm going to come back to the swine flu. People did not like Donald Trump because of COVID and how COVID was handled poorly. And Donald Trump could not use the excuse of Joe Biden was terrible when he was vice president for swine flu, because swine flu was under control. Now, of course, swine flu is less deadly than COVID, so that might have to deal with it. But Americans were like, Joe Biden was handed a spread of a virus, or spread of a flu or whatever, and he handled it. It was under control within months. So by COVID, he can handle it, and the economy was doing well under Obama. Now, of course, there's a lot of other things that we gotta take account that might not look so good, but people generally thought that, I mean, it's an okay economy. It's not a bad economy. Don't get me wrong. That's a conservative. Obama's economy wasn't bad at all. It was good. It was okay. But people knew that the two things that were facing America today was a COVID, and a part of that had to do with the economy. And voters looked everywhere saying, wait, Joe Biden was handled with a flu. He handled it under control. He handled it under control when he was vice president, and he had an okay economy. Also, Joe Biden always wanted to seem like he was very progressive, and he was on top of issues, and that he was very, very on top of issues quickly, which resonated with some Americans, as he argued that back when the Iraq War started, he never always said that Iraq War was terrible. He said that when he was young, he started supporting gay rights, which for a lot of progressives and a lot of people who want to move into be more advanced or progressive, that resonated with a lot of Americans. Of course, the LGBT, because Obama in 2014 signed that 2014, gay rights bill, same-sex marriage bill, and of course, he won. Now, why is the reason he won? If you looked at the demographics, the reason why he won is because he gained more white people on his side. Now, of course, some of that does have to do with, of course, what's going on in terms of racial issues. But a lot of that's because a lot of white people did not like how Donald Trump did not like the BLM, as they thought that the news media, of course, you gotta admit, the news did help out Joe Biden a lot. Whether it was not the only reason why he won, but it was part of the reason why he won. And by portraying a president as all of this, it made people think Donald Trump were not suitable for these conditions and that another 4 years this would be dragged on. White people have voted more for, of course, Donald Trump, but more for Democrats than they did in 2016. Now, we don't know how that is, but of course, the black people African Americans voted for more of Joe Biden in 2020 than they did in 2016. A lot of that has to do with the BLM rights. Of course, women voted for Joe Biden more than in 2016 than they did, voted for him now than they did Hillary Clinton in 2016. A lot of that does have to be Kamala Harris. But of course, Joe Biden probably won because he handled a situation good with the swine flu. When he was vice president, the economy was doing okay. He was seen as a very nice guy, which at a time like this, a lot of people might need that nice guy. That's a lot of the reasons why Gerald Ford is considered the perfect president after Watergate. What America needs now, when America was divided as ever, is a nice guy. And I think a lot of the people voted for a guy who is very nice. Now, of course, I might have missed out some things, and maybe I should reword a few phrases. Maybe this isn't a perfect video, a complete video. But for now, I really think Joe Biden really won this election because he got more African Americans, more women, more white people than they did in 2016. Also, I do think a lot of the reasons why has to do with the media, and that overall he was portrayed. And I agree, I do think he's a nice guy. But yeah. Anyways, guys, leave the reasons why do you think Joe Biden won this election. Now, of course, I'm very biased, so I could have come off as harsh, but I try not to be. I try to be a little objective, but I know that my conservative bias towards conservatives probably got a little bit of the best of me part of this video. Anyways, guys, hope you liked this video. And yeah, leave in the comment section why do you think Joe Biden won. And of course, guys, have an amazing day.